Moonbeams, and welcome to this March, forgot what month it was then. Welcome to this March roundup and what I'm kind of going forward with in April. So I'll be talking about the decks that I've used in the month of March and the decks that I'm planning to use as we go into April. I'm also going to be talking about some of the books I've been reading related to tarot, and there's one book that is not tarot. And I'm also going to be talking about my planner kind of tarot journal practice, which has kind of taken a nosedive. So stick around while I talk about the month of March, which I feel like has been a bit of a washout for me. But stay tuned, and I will flip some cards as we go. So let's get into the decks that I have been using this month. And my first one is the Surrealist Tarot. I've been using this for my daily pulls. Now, I've not been doing my daily pulls in terms of what energy that I need to look at for the day, because I was finding that very overwhelming. I did that for January and February, and by March I was like, this is too much tarot for me and my brain and everything. This felt like too much. It felt like overwhelm. So I thought, right, I'm just going to pull a card each day and use it as kind of a mini deck. Well, not a mini deck study, because I've been writing quite a bit, but as a kind of deck study practice, is getting to know the deck and having some time to bond with it and looking at it and everything. And that has been a lot more successful, I feel, than it was kind of pulling a card for the day. I have days that are, to quote kind of the 9 Inch Nails song, every day is exactly the same. So quite a few of my, like, definitely my weekdays are very much the same pattern and the same thing, because I'm a stay-at-home mum, and I tend not to have like things popping up or anything like that. And if I journal too much, or if I do too much kind of inner work, I get very, very overwhelmed. So this was a way of still pulling a card for a day, but, and I've just realised I've been talking and not shuffling these, not flipping through these cards. You'll have to forgive this video. My brain is a bit I am in a bit of overwhelm at the moment. I'm, as many of you know, I'm neurodivergent, and I feel like I'm having a little bit of, my brain capacity has been a bit stretched. Like if you get blue tack and you stretch it so much that it gets to that bit where it's gonna break. I'm at that little precipice. I'm at that kind of point where my brain just might fully, my body just might fully shut off. I have a autoimmune disability as well. I've got MS, so they're kind of batting off each other at the moment. And with the changes in temperature that we've had, because last week was beautiful and the temperature rose up, and then this week's been a lot colder, my body really struggles with, extreme temperature drops. I really do struggle with that change. I don't do well in the warm weather anyway. My MS doesn't like it. But as well, that extreme in temperature, it kind of discombobulates me. So if this video doesn't feel like your average Nikki self, that's why. So yeah, I was really enjoying doing this and pulling a card. However, with this deck, man, this is a serious deck. Well, not a serious deck in terms of it's like dark or serious or whatever, but it is a bit of a head, you know, a head scratcher. It does make you like really dig deep, and I don't know whether it's because I'm trying to rationalize like the images and what I see and trying to kind of fit them into the card's meaning. Some cards I can read like really intuitively and really kind of get loads out of them. Others like the Hermit card, I really enjoyed deep diving into the Hermit card. I really kind of it aligned with a lot, and I got a lot more deeper meaning from it, and it really like fired those neural pathways in my brain. But then there are some cards where I'm caught like really scratching my head, like this one I had yesterday, and this was a real kind of head scratcher. And I had to look at, whenever I get a card that I'm like scratching my head, I will go to the guidebook. I try not to look at the guidebook with this, because the guidebook in this is tiny, and it can sometimes be more confusing than like what I think the card is and then what it said in the book. It are slightly different, so I tend to try and just read this more intuitively from me. But yeah, it is a bit of a deck where you have to spend a lot of time kind of, and a lot of energy kind of pouring into it and things like that, where like images like that are really lovely, beautiful, get it, but then there are others and I'm like, well, why, you know, well, I know why there's a dove there, but why is there an apple, for example? Yeah, so I think because I've had a bit of a weird time with this one, I don't think I'm going to be getting the Dali Tarot. In my previous video, I was doing decks that I'm reluctant to buy, and the Dali Tarot was one of them. I don't think I'm going to be getting it, just because I think I've got enough with this at the moment. If it goes out of print, I probably would do, but I'm not going to be really upset with any deck if I kind of lose out on it. I'm getting to the point now where this idea of unicorn decks and decks that I really need, well, I don't really need anything. I don't, it's a desire. My life will still turn if I don't have the Dali Tarot or whatever. So I'm kind of in that very weird headspace where I don't, it's like I don't care. Yeah, and that might be the overwhelm speaking. But yeah, so this has been my daily card pulls, and I have really enjoyed it. I might pick it up again maybe in a couple of months' time. At the moment, my brain is, I just need something a little bit simpler, a little bit more palatable, that I will kind of, not have to constantly be digging deep into my subconscious to get the answers. Like this one was more of a struggle with there. So yeah, so this was the Surrealist Tarot. I really do recommend it. I do think it is a great piece of artwork to have for anything, like just shuffling through the cards and everything. I get like a real sense of joy because I am big into, I like my art, like me, weird weird and doesn't make a lot of sense. So that was the not the Dali Tarot, the Surrealist Tarot. Now, a deck that I have had a little bit of a struggle with this month, because I've just not really used it. I used it for my monthly. I think I used it for a few weekly reads, and then there was I just put it down, and this is really sad to say because this as you know, I've said in a previous video, this was a unicorn deck for me. I was so gutted that I missed out on getting I'm still gutted I missed out on getting that English copy of it. This is the Tarot of Vampires by Ian Daniels. Maybe it's just not the time of year to be using this, but I did my monthly reading. I did a few of my weeklies. I might have done the first week, and then I just stopped. And maybe it's something for the darker half of the year, and maybe I need to do a full deck study on it before I jump into it. And really kind of, again, it's a guidebook thing. It's reading the guidebook. It's having the time. And I have got time. I have got 5, you know, and I have chores to do and things like that. I have my chores. I have a couple of hours in the day where I could read a guidebook, but it's having that mental capacity to do it and have it sink in and have it really, you know, there has been a bit of a struggle with it. I might just start looking at I've got the guidebook on my phone, so I've got the English version of the guidebook on my phone. So I have to read it from there. Otherwise, I've got the Spanish guidebook, but I'd have to obviously Google Translate and everything like that, which is fine. Modern technology is amazing. But yeah, I don't think it's because it's like more Thoth based. And when we say Thoth, I've done a bit of digging on this, and this is more based on the Book of Thoth rather than the Aleister Crowley Thoth Tarot. So I don't think it's because of that. I just think it's like in the guidebook, there's so much of a description, and I think the language it uses, it's very intricate. I'm going to say that. It's very intricate. And a lot of the times I haven't got the brain capacity. I've been dealing with 2 kids. I haven't got the brain capacity to deal with, you know, flowery language. I want straightforward. I want it easy to read. I always joke that I've got the reading age of a 13-year-old. And maybe when I talk about my book that I've been reading, possibly that backs it up. But yeah, I've just not been feeling it. But maybe in the winter, maybe when I'm kind of wanting to do things like shadow work, I've just been quite overwhelmed. I haven't really felt the need to. I'm glad that I have this in my collection for £25. I'm very glad that I have this. And I can, you know, use it. I'm very tempted to do something like Sharpie, you know, some clue as to what the card is. So say for example, I put a Q and a P, so it's Queen of Pentacles. No, it's Grails, isn't it? Queen of Cups, so I put Q C. So it's easier, and I put like this is like the Ace of Wands, so I put a 1 and you know, the W or whatever. I might do that just to make it easier to kind of read and do it from that, and I might use it a bit more there, and maybe do another kind of daily, you know, do a daily pull and do a kind of deck study that way there. But at the moment it's a bit, I don't feel disappointed. I'm glad that I've got it. I'm very glad that I didn't pay £130 for it. I'm glad that I managed to get, it's just the fact that it's the Spanish edition makes it slightly harder for me to access, because I've got to go that step of going on my phone, doing it on my phone and everything. The language, obviously, I can't use my existing knowledge because the language there is yeah. So I've got to kind of work out a way of how I can use it. I do want to use it. I just have to work out how. Like this card, I actually, when I Google translated it, it put the trial. So I immediately thought it was justice. I was like, oh, I got the justice card. Oh, and written the thing. And then realised that when I was looking through, I was like, no, wait, this is the justice card. So what is this? And this is judgment. So, I mean, justice, judgment, you know, potato, potato. Yeah, so little things like that. And I don't think I think I've bitten off more than my neurodivergent brain can kind of chew with it. But I'm glad that I do have it, and I hope to develop, you know, a better relationship with it in future. And I definitely will be using this more within the spooky season. And maybe I do a deck study in September or something like that. There. So that is the Tarot of Vampires, the Spanish edition. Another deck that I've not really been using, I think I've used this for one of my weeklies, is the Yukio Tarot. I do love this. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful deck to use with clients. I absolutely love it. Again, I wouldn't be getting rid of this from my collection. I do really like it. Again, it's leaning more into the kind of darker half of the year. So maybe I need to adjust my decks accordingly, and I'll move on to that with my last deck pick. But I just haven't been reading tarot for other people. I haven't had that. As I said, this month has been really overwhelming. There's been a lot of kind of personal things and stuff that have been kind of going on and everything. And I've just not felt I just haven't had the kind of energy. And it's not the energy to read for other people. I would, you know, happily read for other people till the cows come home. It's the having the energy to do the readings on. I do readings on TikTok, to do them on TikTok, to navigate TikTok. I'm very much in a bit of a love-hate relationship with that platform, and I want to build up so I can possibly do readings here in terms of like lives and things like that. I've lost my train of thought. Apologies. Yeah, it's having that desire to, you know, do the whole. And I mean, again, I'm neurodivergent. I have to, there is a certain amount of masking that I have to do when I'm doing TikTok readings. There's a certain amount of kind of, you know, I'm a drama teacher. There is a certain performative kind of element that you have to have, and I just haven't had the energy to do it. I haven't really read for anybody really this month. And I mean, it's not really from the desire, it's just, I think maybe spirit or whoever, maybe this pause is a pause for a reason, that I'm taking care of kind of family business rather than taking care of the, you know, the tarot side of things. And yeah, so I've not used this, but I do think it's a beautiful deck. I am really, really happy with it. It shuffles brilliantly. It is just the right size. The Surrealist Tarot is a little bit too tall for me to riffle shuffle. I struggle with this, but this one is absolutely, because I've been practicing my riffle shuffle. it's this bit that gets me. This is perfect. This is perfect for my diddy hands. This is kind of the perfect size. I wish they'd make all tarot decks the size of the Yukio Tarot in this kind of small little thing. So it's not because I don't like this deck. It's just I haven't really reached for it. It is a bit of an RWS clone. I've just had all the decks that I've been wanting to use, like the Surrealist Tarot and the one that's coming up. But yeah, I've been happy to use this because I kept this from the month before. So I have, you know, got some use out of it. And again, this is coming into the reason why I've stopped buying decks at the moment. I have decks there that sat on my shelf that I haven't even used yet. I haven't even welcomed in, you know, to my collection. I've looked through them, but I haven't used them. So I've got the Dark Visions Tarot or the Night Visions Tarot. I'm looking at the box now and it hasn't got the title on, so it's the one with the eye. And the Arthurian Tarot that I've not got around to having any kind of play with or anything like that. And I've got one oracle that I'm going to show in a bit. Anyway, this is the deck I've been really vibing with, and at first I didn't think I kind of would do. I feel I got this secondhand. I was really pleased. I managed to get this at a really good price. This is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. And when I looked at the book and I looked at it, I was like, yeah, this is great. And the colours, you know, she explains about different colours having meaning, things like that. The guidebook is really, I would say, really good for a beginner. However, I don't think the cards are kind of beginner friendly because this is a pip deck. However, I would have loved to know why she picked certain flowers. I don't know whether it was because of the colour more than the actual flower, but I would love to know, like, if there is a significance, because I really do, if there is a significance in the types of flowers that have been picked. Like, I think that's, isn't it, like, is it the bird of paradise flower? Am I making that up? Like, some of there's lilies there, and I would have liked to have that, just to have that little bit of a deeper layer. But I really enjoyed using this, and I think because it's a pip deck, I think it's stripped away. I've been using this for my weeklies, and I've just been asking, as my usual weekly spread is, an overview of the week, a strength and a challenge. And it's been very easy to get the message because the fact that it's pips, because there's not a lot of scenic stuff to kind of get dragged into and drawn into. So I've really, really enjoyed the fact I love the blade suit. I just do. They're just, yeah. It's just been really, really easy to dig in. I've got the guidebook next to me so I can look at the colours and things like that. So it's been helping me learn a little bit, because it's been, obviously I know about colour theory, and I know being a drama teacher, the symbolism of colours and things like that, I kind of know. But again, it's nice to keep checking with her guidebook as well on it, because sometimes I get more. So I've really just enjoyed this. It is a really kind of, it just tells you what you need to do. I think this is more of a practical like deck, in terms of it will give you a practical message rather than something that's deep and take a long time to look at, process. I think this is a very good like everyday reader, because it just tells you and then you can just move on. I find a lot of pip decks have that effect. Like a lot of Marseille style decks, I've got the Ink and Intuition, the Triomphe della Luna, even though that's illustrated pips, I've got a pips edition as well. Like they just tell you what you need to do and move on. And sometimes with tarot, it doesn't have to be that deep. It's not that, you know, I'm thinking back to when I used to be a teacher and the kids used to say to me, Miss, it's not that deep. And I think sometimes that's all you need. I think when you're overwhelmed, you just need a quick message and then move on. You don't need to sit and journal and whatever, because if you're forcing it, then that, for me, when I start forcing my practice and I kind of go, oh, I have to pick my tarot cards and I have to journal about it and I have to do this deep reflection, then it becomes a chore. It becomes more of a burden or a demand. And I'm like, no, demand avoidance is strong in this one. I definitely, if it's a demand, my son's the same. We tried to get him to get a coat on yesterday, even though it was raining. He wouldn't do it, even though we're saying, like, you've got to come home if it starts raining. Put your coat on. The minute he walked outside, he realised it was windy, came back, put the coat on. It's that kind of conundrum. If you tell me to do something, I ain't doing it. If it's if I come to it on my own, autonomy, you know, if I have autonomy, if I come to it in my own time, then I'm more likely to kind of do things. So again, you know, that might be fitting into why I haven't been reading a lot recently in terms of going on to the other platforms and doing lives there, is because again, it feels like a demand. It feels like people demand me to be on live at the weekend and things, and I don't need to. Well, I don't need to. I'm in the beautiful position where I don't, you know, it would be nice because it would enable me to get, you know, to buy maybe, you know, little things and stuff like that when I sell a reading, but it's not, you know, my whole work. I don't depend on it as an income, so to speak. So yeah, so I've been really enjoying this deck. It's just beautiful. It's just speaks to me and I really like it. And yeah, so I was thinking about carrying this deck over. See my tablecloth. That's the one thing I want to buy. I want to buy like one of those mouse mat things that will cover the whole of my desk, so I don't have to keep changing my tablecloth all the time, because these tablecloths, they mess up and everything, and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. I just want one permanent mat that is not gonna mess around and break and stuff like that. Anyway, side quest there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna carry this over this month into April, just for maybe for my weeklies, maybe for my month ahead, I don't know, because I think this is a good segue into spring. I feel like this is, because of the flowers and everything, I think this is a good deck to move into the spring with, and it's got a little bit of spooky flair behind it there, so I can still get my spooky fix, but I've still got, you know, spring vibes here. Yeah, so this is the Antique Anatomy Tarot. It's also marketed in the UK as the Modern Tarot Reader. So if you go on any like selling sites, you know, pre-love sites, I got it cheaper that way. It's still exactly the same, it's just a different box and a different title. It's a way of getting it. Yeah, I try to get all my decks pre-loved just because it's better for the planet. There. So let's get into the decks that I'm going to be using in April. So the 3 decks that I'm going to be using are, for this month in April, I'm going to be using the Antique Anatomy. So I'm carrying that over from March. I'm going to be using the Arthurian Tarot by Claire Duval and artwork by Anatorian, my favourite. I think I kind of understand the numbers enough to be able to work on this in terms of its imagery. Like L'amour, I know, is the moon. Things like that. La Force. Like, it's quite easy to work out which card is which. I'm going to be using this for my daily. So I've got my daily diary here. So this is a page a day. You can see, if we look back, you can see there's a lot of days where I didn't pick a card. I like to color code it. I like to have my weekly reads, my monthly read there, so I can have it all in one kind of overview of the month. However, I haven't been pulling many daily cards. I've still got a couple to do. Because I've been feeling overwhelmed. So I'm gonna take it in the direction of getting a deck that is more kind of RWS inspired. It will kind of help me get some bond with this. I do love it. It has got such like lovely energy, and it's quite easy to work out from the, no, that's the moon. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this for my daily pulse, so I'm not going to be reading with this deck, just to get used to the fact that it's got French titles on there. So maybe again I've bitten off more than I can chew with the card selection, but it's beautiful artwork. It's absolutely stunning. Who doesn't love an Anatorian deck? I am glad that I've got it in my collection, and I'm gonna see how I get on with working with that deck. Now, you can see, God, you can tell the cardstock is different, because if you look at the difference. Look at the difference between, I mean, this is going to be harder for me to shuffle, but yeah, you can see the difference in cardstock. And then the last one I'm going to be using, I might bring in another one if I'm going on live and I need like a comfort deck that I use quite a lot. I might bring in the Crow Tarot by MJ Cullinane, because I've worked with that quite a lot. It's quite a comfortable, you can pick it up, you can read with it, and it's got good imagery that people like understand. Another deck I'm going to be using was, and I didn't get this when I had my last catch-up video, this is the Trionfio della Luna Rainbow Spectrum edition. So the only difference between this and the illustrated pips is, well, there are 2 differences. One, it's got this beautiful rainbow spectrum kind of coloration to it. And then 2, I really wanted this edition because I really wanted a pip deck. So this is in the kind of Marseille style. And I do want to kind of do a little bit of a Marseille study at some point. So I'm using this as my preferred kind of Marseille at the moment, because I need to have a deck that I want to pick up and use, and not all Marseille decks. I look at them and I'm like, no, I don't. It's old. It you know what I mean. The artwork doesn't really appeal to me, so I'm gonna use this instead. And yeah, I love it. I do love it. So this is Rodney. To go with my illustrated pips is called Del Boy or Derek. And my deviant moon is called Dave. So yeah, it's if you're from the UK, you'll know what TV show I'm referencing. Some of you maybe like across the pond or in Europe, well, they probably won't know, but there was a TV show called Only Fools and Horses that had these characters within them. So yeah, so this is Rainbow Rodney. I bought a dinged box. Now I'm gonna go, it's a dinged box because if you look at the box, there's absolutely no damage on it whatsoever. So I was so pleased. But yeah, check if you want the deck and you're not worried about like keeping the box pristine and things like that, have a look for the ding box because it is really, really reasonable. And that's how I could justify the dinged box. With shipping, it came up as the same price as the deck would be without the ding. But as you can see, I've got there's nothing wrong with this box at all. Like, maybe I just looked out. But yeah, I jumped on that very, very quickly because I thought I'd missed out on a dinged box because I'd hesitated and waited. So then when another one came up, I was like, no, I'm not going to pass this up. So, you know, I was like, damn logistics, I will just get it. So I've got this. I am so happy to have this. This is now technically my fourth indie, because I've got the thinking fingers. I've got the Raven's Dream, I've got this, I've got the Somnia, and which I got from Oneness Emporium, and I've got the Night Visions as well. I think is classed as indie. Again, got it from Oneness Emporium. Check Oneness Emporium out because if you're in the UK and there are certain indie decks that you find hard to get hold of, Cheryl sometimes has them, and that's enabled me to get the Somnia. It's enabled me to get the Night Visions. There's some other decks that I wouldn't have been able to get had it not, you know, because of shipping and whatever. So check her out. She's amazing. She's amazing for mass market decks as well. There. So yeah. So these are the decks I'm going to be using. I might drop in my Crow Tarot because my Crow Tarot is a bit of a spring autumny deck. And yeah. Now, a oracle deck that I thought I was going to use in March time. I don't know whether I've been saying May or March. I get my months mixed up all the time. Sorry. Is the Solitary Witch. I was using the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, and I spent 2 months pulling a card a day, roughly. There were some days where I've missed it and things, and I was like, I've not been pulling a card. I've not been wanting to pull a card. Maybe I'll change the deck. So I changed it to this, and I've reached for it a couple of times, and then I've like not. I don't know whether it's because I need to deck mod it, because I am going to cut the sides off and I'm going to cut a bit at the top and a bit at the bottom. I do think I need to mod it in order for it to be more manageable for me. but I've really been struggling with this concept of, because I've been trying to learn the deck as I've been pulling a card of what I've needed. I've just not remembered. I have it downstairs. I have this bag downstairs with this is the bag that was made for it. I made it a bit too big, with the book in, and I have a separate diary. So I have my diary that I do my tarot days in, which I've been just learning about the card rather than doing a like daily pull. I've got this for my oracles, and I was doing really well with it. I need to bring this up a bit. Yes, I was really doing well with it, as you can see. And where I wasn't, I was sticking stickers in and decorating it, like when I had no cards day, things like that. However, you can see I did all the way up until February, did March, and I did 1 week of March. I didn't even do those days. And then I did that. And then from the 10th of March, I've not done anything. I've not done anything at all. So I am struggling with this practice at the moment, in terms of putting the, having that rigidity of having the days. Maybe I've seen a video from Tarot Magpie, and she's got a book where it's just got the days of the week in, and then she's it's an amazing video. She's date stamped, so I could just white it out and put a date in there, and that, so if you miss a couple of days, it doesn't look like you've not got gaps to fill. And I think that might be a better solution than using this. But I do love this because it is, it is a witchy book journal. It's got a wealth of information in. It's just my brain has been absolutely fried, and I've not been kind of using it. As the same has happened with, apologies, this will be a long video. The same has happened with my Bone Stone and Earth Flesh deck study. So I got this book, I decorated it, I washi taped, I should washi tape it after because it's all peeling. But I've done the deck exercises, but I've only managed to get about 25 of the cards done, and I just lost all interest in doing it. I might pick it up again, I might write in again and do it, but it's been just living downstairs in this deck bag. Ironic, we're all mad here. It's been, I've this is my first mod, so this a purple that me and my daughter chose. I do need to go over it because it's a bit patchy, but I do love this deck. But I think, yes, you can get loads out of doing the guidebook and doing the activities, but again, I don't think journaling is for me. I think I struggle a little bit with that journaling and writing down, and because of partly with my dyslexia, the struggle of writing it down, writing what's in my head, writing it down. Maybe I need to record it or do something else instead and have it more talky, where as I journal, but I do it in a more speaking way, because I can speak, as you know, with my videos. I can speak for hours, I can talk for hours about things. I'm a bit of a waffler. So yeah, but in order to, I don't really feel like with this deck, I just feel like I can pick up and read it. It's got such an intuitive vibe to it. I think I will kind of pick this back up and want to finish it again, but for now it's kind of been put on the back burner, because I just feel like I might need to use the deck rather than be like tied to the guidebook. And again, you know, people do these guidebooks and they're amazing. You know, this is a hefty guidebook. This is a hefty guidebook and it's got so much in. It is a wealth of information. But again, it's having the capacity to not just read it, but actually take it in and take in all the information. I don't know, my brain just isn't braining at the moment with things like that. So it's going to be put on the back burner for now. And I will put this away and I will pick it up at a later date. Another book. Oh yeah, I went to show you the oracle. So this is the only oracle that I've brought in because the rainbow spectrum I got in February, so it came just as I'd done the video for February into March. I got this as a Mother's Day present, so my son picked it out from my wish list. My lovely husband bought it. It is very much my son's aesthetic. When I opened it and I was like, did you pick this? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I can tell. He's 13, and he loves black and red. So, and he loves his creepy stuff. So this is The Shadow of Darkness. I showed this in my previous video because I was debating about getting the Earth and Bone. I think I will stick to this for now. And I will use it. I don't think I'm going to be using this straight away because this is a dark deck. This is a shadow deck. I'm not in the mood for shadow decks at the moment, but it's there. It's great. It's going to help me. And maybe I do need to have a bit of a kick up the backside, and maybe I do need to ask, like, what is it that's kind of wrong or whatever. But the way I feel, I don't know whether this is going to be a deck that is just going to kind of completely put me off. I think I need something that's more like a gentle hug deck rather than this at the moment. But I think when I'm a little bit more, my brain is a little bit more on track, I will definitely be looking into this. Like, not all the cards are dark. Like, you've got reflection, value, patience, manifestation, rooted. Like, there is, you know, it's not all dark and dark and dark, but I wouldn't want to be, while I'm in a bit of a delicate state at the moment, I wouldn't want to be kind of getting cards like, I can't find one now, you know, deception, turbulence, you know, like things like that. Maybe ambiguity is me at the moment. So this is, you know, it's beautiful card stock. It's absolutely fantastic. I do love the artwork. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's the beauty of tarot. Not everybody, you know, not everybody is gonna like a cute fluffy kitten deck. This is what I would rather have, a deck like this than a cute fluffy kitten deck. You know, I'm a dog person anyway, but there is a time and a place, and it's just being like open-minded. If you don't like this, that's fair enough. But again, like, I saw a comment on somebody's video where somebody was dismissing of a tarot deck because it was dark, and it's like, not everybody wants cute love and light, like, you know what I mean? Some people, like, I see the beauty in the darkness. I see the beauty in, you know, images like this. I feel like they're like hauntingly beautiful. Yeah, it is a bit crazy and a bit out there, but you know what I mean? Like, this is how my brain sees things. So I'm really excited. It's got a pretty decent, you know, good, you know, they're split up into like accumbrance cards, protection cards, yeah, so there's kind of protection cards, accumbrance cards. yeah, and then spreads. So I'm excited to be using this. I'm really excited that I've got it, and I love my son for picking it, because it is very much like, I should name the deck after him. It's very much his kind of style. He's getting into horror films at the moment, and he's listening to a lot of new metal at the moment and things like that. He's getting into his alternative vibe, which I love. And he can spot an Iron Maiden song when I've got them on, because I'm a big Iron Maiden fan and a Ghost fan. So yeah, I love this deck. It's never gone out of my collection. But at the moment, oh, that gilding, I love a bit of red gilding. At the moment, it's not going to be kind of used too much. Because, yeah, my brain ain't braining with this at the moment. Now, so, yeah, my daily, well, this is my weekly and my monthly planner. This is just from a artist called Diane Reevesley at Dilutions, and she sells covers for art journals and things. And I had this, so I just repurposed it and used it for my there I've got a tarot oil book. So this is my weekly booklet at the moment. I decorated it. I've still not decorated the cover, so I do a weekly, then do the weeks. I have struggled, so my month of March I've not filled in, but I've really I feel like I've struggled to fill the pages of this. I feel like I might have to, I'm coming towards the end of this, I've really struggled. I'm coming towards the end of this book. So when it comes to May, June, I get to June, I might change the practice, because I'm struggling with the journaling. I'm struggling with this, keeping up with the journaling, doing a lot of introspection, doing everything. I feel like the way my brain is, maybe I need to get the message and then just move on with it and just carry on about my day. And then maybe in my head go, oh yeah, it linked to this or whatever. Not to dismiss the reading, but I feel like it's almost, it's overcomplicating the message, the overcomplicating the message of the cards by doing this detailed, how it showed up, how I feel, everything. I don't know. I think I overanalyze, I'm going to keep this book here, I overanalyze everything. I'm constantly overanalyzing every single moment, because that's how my brain works. I feel like overanalyzing in my tarot and my journals, it's taken up so much brain power that it's getting me into a bit of a, it's not, I'm not feeling the best with it. Brilliant people that can journal and do that, and it works for them. I don't think it works for me. So I think I'm going to be changing my way I approach things. And as I've mentioned, Tarot Magpie did an amazing video, and I will link it down below, about, she'd previously done a video about her tarot practice and her journals, and then came into a slump and was doing something slightly different and doing something in a smaller format. I think I'm going to be, and it really confirmed what I'd been feeling for a while. So I think I might be doing that, or maybe not doing anything at all. Maybe not journaling, maybe not noting down my cards, maybe just reading my cards, and then that's fine. Or, I have got another tarot journal if I want to write things down. I've got this big tarot journal, and again, I've not been connecting with my deities. I've not been doing any kind of spell work or anything like that. I just feel like it's been a bit of a slump. And I don't know whether I spent so much time like learning, going into, I want to learn more about tarot and I've just burnt myself out, or whether I just need to, you know, take a break and touch grass. I have this month been spending more time outdoors, going out on walks. I didn't this morning because I forgot my phone, because I listened to an audiobook as I'm walking, which I'll talk about in a minute. Yeah, so the books that I have been reading this month to do with tarot, I've been carrying on with the astrology. I'll put a picture up here. The astrology book. I am running out of my Kindle Unlimited membership, so I probably might buy that book anyway, because I'm really getting quite a bit out of it, and it is really good. I might just, or maybe just buy the another month and get as much as I can out of it. I have been really enjoying that book. I might see if I can get it secondhand. Another book I've been reading is it's a Mary K. Greer book, and it's about ways of reading. I'll put a picture up because, again, brain is not braining. Ways to read a tarot card, and I've been reading that at night when I can't get to sleep, and it's been really good to just kind of wind down, and just a lot of it is stuff that I already knew, already can do, things like that, but it's really good. It was a really good, I think, for any beginner, read that book because it will really, really help you. I'm kind of about 30% through, and again, I will pick that up if I get a Kindle Unlimited subscription, or I'll try and see if I can get a second. Again, physical books I struggle with. If it's on my Kindle, I tend to read it easier there. So the non-fiction, no, that's the non-fiction books. The fiction book I've been listening to, and I am not a reader, I am somebody who doesn't really do fiction, but I have been listening to The Bell Witches. I'll put a picture. It's book 1 in the series. It's by Lindsay Kelk, and I love Lindsay Kelk. I've got an autographed copy of one of her books already, and when I saw that she'd done a book about witches and there's werewolves in there, it's like young adult literature. I was like, I'll give it a go. It's on Spotify Premium. I can listen to it, and I've been hooked. I literally would keep on listening to it after I'd gone on my walk because I wanted to finish it, and now I'm on book 2. So it's a little bit predictable in terms of could see things coming, but it's just a really nice kind of, you know, witchy kind of read. There's a love interest in there and things like that, and everything like it. And there was a little bit of a twist at the end where I'm kind of like, oh, I didn't actually see that coming. And usually I can kind of spot either I can spot something's gonna happen, but not get the actual person right, if you know what I mean. My husband is really good at kind of being like, I think this is going to happen, and then it happens. Like, he's really good at that. I am not as good, but I can kind of spot the patterns of, oh, this is possibly going to happen. Anyway, I've talked too long. So yeah, that is a audiobook I've been listening to. Again, I much prefer audiobooks. They tend to go in better. I've been listening to it at slightly sped up speed because, again, my neurodivergent brain doesn't like, I need things speeded up. I often watch YouTube videos on 1.5 speed or 2 speed because then it keeps me watching it. If there are pauses and things like that, I really, really struggle with that, and I tend to drift off and do something else. So I've been listening to it on like 1.2, 1.3 or something like that speed, to just it goes in a lot better, and I don't my brain doesn't drift off into thinking about other things. So I am sticking with 3 decks this month. I am going to be reconsidering how I do my daily, weekly, and monthly practice. I am trialing a little a system. This is nothing to do with tarot, but I was watching a video about incidental planning or something, and it's where you note down what you, because I'm like, here what I've done. You note down at the time what you're doing in a day. Like, if you're feeling like, oh, what am I meant to be doing, what am I, you know what I mean, like big projects are really, really hard for me to do. So I have kind of, you know, written down, I'd watched a YouTube vid, I've pulled my tarot for the day, and it helps you kind of think about how the hours are being spent, or how the time's being spent, and what you're doing. And at the moment I'm gonna try anything. I'm gonna try anything to see, like, if I feel I get overwhelmed very easily, I could say, right, I'm gonna open my laptop. Yeah, I'm gonna, you know, and breaking it down into smaller steps. So hopefully I'm using this little book, hopefully that kind of freedom might help me like plan my day, because I think, oh, I've got so many things to do in a day, and then that weight of all these things that I have to do, all these demands, kind of paralyzes me and stops me from doing them. So at least if I go, right, I've done my YouTube video, I've done that, I've achieved that, then moving on, what next have I got to do? Well, I've got to make dinner for today. We're having calzone, and I home make it. Like, that will be some time, and it will really kind of hopefully help me with my brain. My brain fog is really bad. So if I've written in what I was going to do and I forget, then I can look back and see, oh yeah, I was doing that, and jump back. I don't know whether it'll work, but yeah. But I think this video has been far too long, but you know me, I love a good ramble, I love a good talky video. Yeah, I feel a little bit bleh at the moment, and maybe it is the constant change in the weather and things like that, and stuff, or overwhelm or whatever. But I feel like my tarot practice has been struggling as a result. All these books and all these plans that I have to learn are kind of going by the wayside. But anyway, I'm gonna try not beat myself up about that. If you've got this far, please let me know. So I got all the way through the marathon. And please, if you're not subscribed, please think about subscribing. Yeah, it does help. You know, because people see my videos and are not subscribed, and I'm trying to get to 500. I've just got 200, and I was so excited. I was like, I've broken 200, yay! I was so, you know, pleased when that milestone came up. So yeah, next one is 500. Yeah, please drop me a comment. How are you feeling this weird changes in the weather at the moment, or how are you feeling with your tarot practice and things like that? What decks are you going to be using? Let me know. I always like chatting in the comments with you. And yeah, I will see you soon on another video. Take care, Moonbeams.